The cinematic world deserves a better breed of film. And The Dark Knight's gonna give it to him. Well, it already gave it to them, because now we're talking about The Dark Knight, the film where Christian Bale's Batman accent inexplicably gets more, "Where is he? Swear to me!" Oh my god, like, I don't know how he does it for, like, you know, filming on end. Like, it's such an exhausting voice. But The Dark Knight...
I'm gonna just go right off the bat, yeah, and say The Dark Knight is not just the greatest Batman film, it's not just the greatest comic book film, it is the greatest film of all time.
I would honestly say The Dark Knight, it's the one film, and it's one of those things where so many people give this answer, but we're gonna justify it to you today, like real specifically, real analytical. But whenever somebody asks me what's your favorite film, I'm like, fuck, I can't help but say it's The Dark Knight.
It's always The Dark Knight.
Specifically The Dark Knight. It was just in every element of it. Like, first off, you know, writing off the last episode, it throws you in the middle of the story, so we're not kind of setting up anything about origins
that
here.
Opening,
wow,
just silence and
it's funny because you actually there's this thing about certain Nolan movies that people started picking up, and I noticed it happened in Tenet as well, where the movie kind of starts and you don't even realize, because there isn't all this roll credits at the start. Yep. The movie just threw you in, and you know, it really, it catches you off guard for one, but wow, what an opening, this mystique, this sort of like mystery, and I mean, I guess...
this action sequence, you know, like the tension, like there's barely any music, just kind of ambient noise, and then just the final reveal, like, just gets weirder.
No, he says, you know, what doesn't kill you simply makes you stranger.
A stranger.
And you know, I thought it was such a good, because in such a tense moment, they were able to really dissect this personality of the Joker.
Was that not one of the greatest intros of a character of all time?
Well, that's the thing, because even before you see him, you're already getting a sense of him, because he had all this betrayal going on, and oh, you know, the boss said that the cut gets split, you know, in 3 ways if there's less guys, and 2 ways, and they're basically taking each other out, and it already gives you an insight into this calculated mind of the Joker. Now, I think maybe no better start to talk about The Dark Knight than the Joker.
Yes, I mean, look, when Heath Ledger was announced as the Joker, and at this point, I knew Heath Ledger. I hadn't seen a lot of his very early filmography, like Candy. So I also knew Heath Ledger as, you gotta understand, back in this era,
he was still the pretty boy.
He was the Zac Efron of his time.
Or the Leo DiCaprio pre all the other films he did.
I'll say more Zac Efron, because DiCaprio never did as much, like, you know, popcorn. He did like A Knight's Tale, 10 Things I Hate About You, which were these rom-com things. So I was like, Heath Ledger, like, really
left of center field casting. But I think this was the beginning of Nolan's casting of people that you really didn't expect, like finding this hidden talent. And the thing about Heath Ledger's Joker, and I will say again, I think any great portrayal of a character is down to the performance, the execution of it, but also how they're directed and written. And the Joker was one of the... I thought Heath Ledger's Joker, or Christopher Nolan's Joker, is one of the greatest takes as well, because, you know, there were so many comic books and so many approaches to try and explain the Joker's past. Look, I thought Jack Nicholson's Jack Napier was kind of cool, but it was also this thing about, you know, you still have this humanized element, and, you know, you kind of see where he was, and it does take a little bit away from the magic of the Joker, this mysterious origin. And considering Nolan's really grounded take on the Batman franchise, it was so cool to see this Joker who was so, you know, clearly he's human, but there's something about him, the way he misdirects, the way he gives you false information about his past. You know, you only get little glimpses into who he is, but not where he came from.
You see these scars?
Yeah, his scar story is constantly changing, and I think actually that sort of mystique he creates gives such a great insight into the character and what he's trying to do. And I thought one of the greatest scenes, honestly, is when he's in the hospital with Harvey Dent, Two-Face, and he's got the gun pointed at his head, and he goes, "I'm like a dog chasing cars, you know, Gordon, he's the schemer." He's talking about all the schemers. He's like, "I'm not a schemer, I just do." But the funny thing about that scene was that you can actually see he's got his thumb on the hammer of the pistol. And throughout everything in the entire movie, you go, there's no way the Joker could have achieved any of his plans without being a schemer. He is one of the greatest deceivers in cinematic history, to fool you into thinking that, you know, and that's the thing, the cause and effect in The Dark Knight was so well done.
You see, I think the most powerful scene in The Dark Knight, I mean, there's so many, right? But here's the thing is that it's so, and this is a problem that's happened in a lot of the later comic book films, is that everyone keeps trying to show strength through apparently chicken and broccoli. Yeah.
No, but
chicken
like,
and broccoli. But they just get jacked and jacked and jacked, right? But Heath Ledger didn't spend his time getting jacked to be the Joker. He doesn't take his shirt off or anything, but he created this terrifying and powerful character through his intimidation and, you know, his
physicality.
And that scene where Batman interrogates him.
Wow,
and he's like, you have nothing to threaten me with.
This is something as well to attribute to, you know, what Heath Ledger's genius and his dedication, where he actually said to Christian Bale, he's like, I actually want you to punch me for real in this scene, because he was using that pain to stimulate that you know, that really fucking pain, like what a tortured soul, you know. And I'm realizing now this is turning into a Joker analysis, but
isn't The Dark Knight largely the Joker?
It is largely the Joker and Heath Ledger's portrayal. I thought, you know what, continuing off that train, we can even do a more in-depth movie analysis.
Somebody did say, I mean, some people did say, like,
we're gonna I just want to touch on this point really quick.
Okay.
One of the great things about it, we talk about comic book movies making morality really simplistic, was the ferry scene where Joker has two ferries. He's got one ferry full of innocent people and the other ferry full of correctional facility inhabitants, you know, prisoners. And I thought that was such a mature take on morality, you know, really looking at the complexity of it, in that there's, you know, what we associate as innocent and what we associate as guilty can be thrown right out the window. Thrown out right out the window. Like that Ving Rhames looking guy. I don't know if it's Ving Rhames, I don't think, but he took the detonator and threw it out the window, and the innocent people were saying, no, let's just blow them up, they're just prisoners. And that I thought was a really mature take, really mature scene to have in a comic book movie. That
was something that was really lacking in Marvel films. It's like, where the hell are the citizens?
Where the hell are the citizens? The stakes, you know, and in this case, like, you didn't even need to see death. But you know what? You did see death. You saw people dying by the hand of the Joker, you know, when the body of the guy in the Batman suit slams into the window.
How good is that scene, which was directed by Heath Ledger, in case you didn't know?
Oh, the butcher scene.
Yeah.
Like,
you see what Batman's done?
Yeah, it was such a great little manic moment, and again, all these little moments that add up to really paint this. It paints a picture of the Joker without you really knowing where he came from. Look, I kind of want to talk about another element other than the Joker. We could go on for days about that. That's a really brilliant portrayal. But I think...
shout out to Lau as well. I don't know what his real name is, you know, but I know that he is...
oh, Lau.
He is originally from Singapore. I remember watching him from Masters of the Sea.
Isn't that Tima?
Hey, well done, brother.
Isn't it Tima?
What's
his name? No, Tima's the other guy.
Tima means sesame, dumbass.
Oh, Chin Han. Yeah, from Singapore, Chin Han.
Yeah, remember Masters of the Sea or not? I will crush them like the cockroach.
Well, I don't know them. But you know, he's good with numbers.
Well done, brother. Well done.
But look, it's funny because...
Some more you get to act with Marion Cotillard, huh? Oh,
hey, brother, he did not get to act with Marion Cotillard.
He did in Contagion, or stupid.
Oh, okay. I thought Cotillard in the third one, you stupid, but then I stupid.
I'm talking about Chin Han's filmography, okay?
Okay, we'll do another episode on Chin Han next time, I tell you. Don't sidetrack with Chin Han, he's very small in the grand scheme. But look, no, like, I thought it was a really great...
I felt that one, I was like, hey, Chin Han!
Hey, brother! No, but back on track though, I did find, like, The Dark Knight was great because when you actually watch it, it's a really hard case of trying to figure out...
Look, if this goes over 10 minutes, yeah, I think it's alright.
It's excusable.
Because this is the greatest film
I think this film deserves it, yeah. So, you know, like, I thought... It's funny, because when I watched it, right, you don't come out of the movie thinking, you know, oh, Joker was the good guy necessarily, but you know what? I actually come out of it going, Joker won. The bad guy won. Think about it. Batman has to go into hiding. He sacrificed, you know, like...
And he showed you, he showed you, like, how the good guys aren't really always good. Like,
they are
corruptible. Good if they win at regardless of the means?
Yeah.
Comes, you know, they have to answer for it in the next film.
Which I thought was a really great touch on. There was a Batman comic or arc, or I think even the video game, that had this line where Joker says, you know, you're just one bad day away from being me. And it's really, again, and you know, we talk about things like Naruto, and we're like, you know, this, where you end up, really, you are a product of your environment and what happens to you. And I just thought, again, The Dark Knight as a whole as a movie is a really mature take on how things can play out. And can we say as well that Nolan dared to kill someone?
Oh, he killed Rachel.
He killed Rachel. Let her go.
Very poor choice of words.
Yeah, he actually killed her. And but how powerful a moment though, in that you kept thinking like, oh fuck, he's gonna kill Harvey Dent. Yeah. But then, you know, like I said, the cause and effect, the causality, everything in that movie.
You see fucking Aaron Eckhart's face, like, don't worry, they're coming for you. And Joker gave them the wrong.
And then Batman comes in and no! Again, Aaron Eckhart, I think, was also another really underrated part of that movie. He was one that I was like, really? Aaron Eckhart? Like, I'd seen him in a few things.
And you don't even let Rachel finish the sentence. No, Harvey, it's alright.
Rachel! And then...
Oh, silence. You don't hear Rachel.
I thought, actually, that was a really great... from the comic book perspective, I thought that was a really great sort of, like, red herring, where they first have that scene of Harvey Dent in court.
Yes.
And there was the guy like, I'll give you something to smile about. And he, you know, points the gun at him. And, you know, obviously throw back to Harvey Dent's real origins where some guy, a mobster, splashes acid on half his face. But I thought this was great because even having him fall onto the oil-spilled floor, covering half his face, and then the explosions ignite it, it really was actually so poetic that in that one moment of devastation, finding out Rachel died and that he was the one being saved, that was the turning point that pushed him into this insanity, you know. And yeah, wow, like, even Two-Face, what a great writing.
Starts going after all the people responsible. It reminds me a bit of another movie I really like, which we'll talk about another time, is Law Abiding Citizen.
Yeah, and it's interesting because it was the whole thing of like justice based on a lie, and we will talk about this in The Dark Knight Rises about how this justice based on a lie, like,
which is something that we would like to touch on, and this is very early to talk about this, but it will come out at some point.
Oh yeah, because
it's our TV series, Gods Among Men, based on true story,
and it's in development, development for a long time.
Yeah.
Give us money. I was money.
Anybody who likes what we do and would like to support us and actually help us make it come true, you know, big money backers. I'm not talking about like donating on, you know, OnlyFans or something.
GoFundMe. I know OnlyFans not too bad.
Yeah. Hit us up, guys. Like, if you want to produce our story and like to talk more about it. But in summary,
let's wrap this up.
How many stars do you want to give The Dark Knight?
5. I'm sorry. It's gotta be. Look, I've seen this movie easily over, I think, 30 times at this point. Like, I'm a huge Nolan fan, right? That's also why we got really critical on Tenet. But The Dark Knight to me was like, I'm a huge Nolan fan. I'm a massive comic book nerd, which is also why I get riled up when the comic books aren't, you know, utilized to their full potential in movies. And look, The Dark Knight, I think, is just the perfect cocktail of...
I give The Dark Knight 1 star. But it's not just any star. It's a fucking like supernova that wiped out the whole universe.
Well, that sounds like a good Interstellar segue. But no, we will be doing The Dark Knight Rises next.
But no, it's beyond the star system.
It's beyond the solar system.
Yeah.
If you still haven't seen this film, there's really something wrong with you, brother. But I think it's impossible. Everyone's seen this film at this point. But here, yeah, this is just a little glimpse into why it is actually such a brilliant, incisive, complex take, not just on the source material, but of story writing. Oh, and I'd just like to cap off, this movie was entire story, by Jonathan Nolan. Screenplay by Chris and Jonathan. Yeah. So there you go.
Call your brother, okay, Chris?
Yeah, Chris, brothers must be brothers, alright? You need to be bro, okay? So, see ya! I'm Batman!